Hey guys, welcome to episode 3 of Pineapple Knits. I'm Marina, and you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry at Pineapple Yarn, and you can visit my hand-dyed yarn company at pineappleyarn.com. So I hope you've had a great week this past week. It's been about a week since my last podcast, and as usual, it's been really busy around here. I don't even know why I say that because it's always going to be busy around here, it feels like. But we've had a really great week, and I guess the biggest thing for me personally is that I reopened Pineapple Yarn. So the reopening was on Friday, and I really was kind of blown away with how many people visited my shop and the orders I received. And so for all of you who did visit my shop, and especially for you who took or who placed orders, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and just really grateful for your response. And yeah, all of the orders that were placed this past weekend have been shipped. I know some of you actually sent me messages because you received the yarn so quickly, you've already received it. So I'm kind of an instant gratification person. I guess I'm just a product of today, you know, and so I like to receive things really quickly, and so that's what I really try to do with your orders, is to get everything out quickly, because I know that you want to start knitting with things and using those project bags as soon as possible. So thank you guys for visiting the shop, and yeah, so that was really busy this past weekend. I was busy with that. My daughter's birthday party was this past weekend, and I made the mermaid cake. I wasn't really happy with it, I'm just being honest. You know, when you have something in your mind, you want it to look a certain way, and it doesn't turn out the way you want, it's always a little disappointing. But she turned 5, so she has 5-year-old expectations, which are pretty low. So I'll put a picture of it here. So it was really fun, though. It was fun to make. Basically, it was a very simple 3-tiered cake, and I know that's ridiculous to say a simple 3-tiered cake. It actually was a set from Wilton. It came with 3 different sized cake pans, but they're very, very small. The smallest layer was maybe 4 inches wide, and on the box, it actually says that it uses 1 cake mix. I used 2 cake mixes, and I'm glad that I did, because they would have been really, really short layers if I hadn't. So, yeah, did that. I used frosting from a can, and I used about 1.5 cans of frosting. And then I did some seashells, starfish, and in molds out of candy melts. So it was actually a really good thing that I had those, because they covered up a lot of mistakes. And just added to the cake. It was cute. It was a cute cake. I guess the other thing is the middle layer, I colored some fondant and cut circles out of them and layered them so they looked like, they're supposed to look like mermaid scales, but the actual scale of the circles was way too big for the layer. It would have looked better on a larger cake, but it's just the way it is. So we had a good time, though. It was fun, and she had a wonderful time, so that's what really counts. But yeah, so we did that. We are actually getting ready to go to a close family friend's wedding this weekend, and it will be a long car ride. But I should probably talk about that later after I show you what I've been working on. So I do have a finished object today. These are the socks that I started. I think I showed you maybe last week. I showed you that I had started. This was my leftover yarn from my Impressionist shawl. This is MOONROVER in Stalagmite. And then for the heels and the toes, this is by Homespun House, and it is called MIRTH, and it is a really, really pretty pink. It has a lot of warm tones in it, and I think it complements this beautifully. And so how I made these socks is I took all of my leftover, it ended up being about 33 grams, my leftover yarn, and I knit a cuff and then just knit a continuous tube until I was nearly out, and then knit another cuff. So it was just a long tube with 2 cuffs on each end. Then from there I just, I think I just cut it in half. I mean, I think I threaded a needle. I don't know how you'd say that. Threaded like the right leg of each stitch in a row all the way around, one of my sock needles all the way around, and did that on 2 rows. So there was one row in between, snipped it, and then unraveled it. So it separated into basically 2 socks. And then from there, knit toes on that, and then did a true afterthought heel. Let me go ahead and show you. So I use for my heels, my afterthought heels, I use the tutorial by Kirby Werby. You can search for it on YouTube. It's been the best explanation, I guess, of afterthought heels, and they're so simple. So it's so easy to do, and they look really, really great. So that's how I did those heels. I liked how I did this sock. I liked the idea of this sock. I think next time what I will do is, instead of doing the cuff in the main color of the main body color, I guess, the main sock color, I will do a contrast cuff. And the reason behind that is that I can knit all the way down until the very end, the very, very, very end, and then put another contrast heel on the opposite side. With this, what happened is I was weighing my yarn, I was guessing, and I did have a small bit, I don't even know if I have it here. I did have a little bit left over, yeah. I had that. But I would have liked to make the sock longer and just use every bit of it because I love this yarn. I've talked about this yarn a lot in past episodes, but it is American made. And not just the dyeing, but the yarn itself. The base is American made, and it is a thicker fingering weight, a little bit heavier fingering weight. The sock, I mean, it just knits up beautifully. I used size 0 Addy sock rockets and do a magic loop. I think on these I probably could have used a size 1, but honestly, it made for a really substantial, thick sock. I really, really like it. So these are for my little girls. You can tell they're tiny. They're little. So I'm really excited. I've held her off. I've said, no, I have to take a photograph for Ravelry. I have to show these on the podcast. So she's been anxiously waiting to wear these, so she can do that right after this. So yeah, I was really pleased with these. So that's my finished object for this week. And as you guys probably can figure out, I am such a monogamous knitter. I usually have maybe 2 projects going on at once. It's just the way it is. I don't have a lot of knitting time. to begin with. So I complete projects fairly quickly, but I also don't spread my time out on very many. So the only other thing that I'm currently working on is my Wondrous Moth Shawl by DEGEN. And yeah, so here is the side I showed last week. I've completed this side. This is pineapple yarn in Heartbreaker. It is a beautiful, I'm sure you can see it, kind of a red pink, very saturated color. The speckled portion is pineapple yarn in Waikiki. And then the third, and I didn't have this on last week, this is pineapple yarn in Cobalt. And it is a really, really beautiful saturated blue. And let me show you in the cake. I love this blue because it is just so saturated. It has pink undertones, so it just makes it pop. It is a really, really beautiful blue color. So that was the next section of it. And basically this will, so the Wondrous Moth Shawl is a triangular shawl. This will point down, this will be up, and it will have a mirror image on the other side. And let me go ahead and show you the other piece that I have knit up. This entire shawl is made in pieces. It's kind of a color block shawl. It's made in pieces. Some are knit kind of continuously together. Some are actually, I think they're stitched together at the end. But this is the first, I'll just show you the first, I guess, little chunk that I made, the block that I made. This is kind of a teardrop shape. And this is pineapple yarn and bubblegum. It is a pale neon color. And I love this color so much. It is so pretty. And this will be connected to this. So the red and the pink here are connected like that. So yeah. And then for the main body of the shawl, the actual triangle part, what I'm going to do is neon yellow. Let's see if that works out. I actually have the cake here. For some reason, I have been just really, really wanting to make things out of neon yellow. I wanted to wear neon yellow. I'm not really sure why. So I have yarn for that. This is, kind of got messy at the bottom of my bag here. This is actually pineapple yarn and Saturn, and you can tell, I mean, this is some really bright yarn. It looks like it's glowing right now. This is very, very bright, but paired with some of these other colors, they are just really striking together, I think. I know I put a photo of this on Instagram, I think. I posted a photo before I started, but they're just really fun together. So we'll see. I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm going out on a limb a little bit with this because it is going to be so bright. And don't get me wrong, I love bright colors. I normally wear them, which I'm not today, but yeah, so I'm not really sure what this is going to look like, but the actual construction of the shawl, the design of the shawl it's very interesting. I think it's going to be a very interesting knit, especially at the end, because the edges of the shawl have a really unusual, I don't even know what to say, lace pattern. It's not lace. they're shaped down and up like that. I don't really know what to call them. But when I saw it, I was really blown away by this pattern. It was absolutely striking, very unusual, and it doesn't have very many, there aren't very many finished objects on Ravelry, which I thought was kind of unusual because it was such an interesting pattern. It was different than any shawl I've seen. I don't like to compare designers to each other because everyone is so different, but it reminded me kind of in the same genre as like a Stephen West pattern because his construction, his details are so unusual. It's not just a triangular shawl or just a crescent shaped shawl. It was very unusual and out of the ordinary. When I say unusual, I mean it in a good way, just out of the ordinary. So yeah, I'm really excited to continue with that. So that's really, since I finished the socks, that is all I'm working on right now. I only have the shawl, but I do like to have socks cast on because they are great for some mindless knitting when you can't really concentrate or count stitches or what row you're on. So let me show you some yarn that I'm going to cast on here. We are, like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, we are headed to a close friend's wedding this weekend. We will be in the car for, I estimate, at least 11 hours. So that should be interesting. My youngest is 2 months old. So we'll just see how that goes. He is normally a wonderful car traveler as long as he's on the highway. If you hit any kind of traffic, stop signs, stop lights, he hates it. He loves to be moving. So hopefully he'll do well on this trip. We'll see. But the great thing is that on these long trips, my husband is the one who likes to drive. And I always offer to drive. I'm sure some of you are preaching to the choir here, right? I always offer to drive and he refuses almost every time. So I like to pack a lot of knitting in the car because I normally don't have a lot of sit down time to knit and knock a lot of things out. So I am going to cast on probably 2 pairs of socks. The first one I'm going to cast on is for one of my daughters. This is WOOLENVINE yarns in the Evil Queen, I believe it is. I don't have a label on it right now, but it is such a great colorway. I am so excited to cast this on. My daughter loves purple. It's her favorite color, and so I got this from one of the WOOLENVINE yarns updates. I was able to get this, very excited because it had purple in it, and I had been thinking of her when I got this, and so this morning I actually asked her, do you like this color? You know, do you want some socks made from it? And she kind of looks at me like, she's thinking about it, and she says, well, what is the name of this yarn? And I said, oh, it's called the Evil Queen. And her eyes kind of lit up and said, yes, I love it. So she's not so much the unicorns and mermaids type one. This is right up her alley. So this is going to be for one of my kids. It is so pretty. It has gold stellina in it. So I'll probably be casting this on. And then the other one, I actually have it's it's not really a system. It's just, with all my kids, I like to knit kid socks. They are so fast. I like to get projects done really quickly, so that's just the way it goes. But my method is I kind of go in a cycle with them. So for, like I just finished my oldest daughter socks, and now I'm going to go to the next one, and then I'll go to the next one. So everyone kind of has a turn. They know when they can expect a pair of socks, because my kids love when I knit for them, which is really great. I mean, they are so proud of their hand knits, and even today, the daughter who I'm knitting these for, she was wearing wool socks, and it is 80 degrees here. She's just so funny that way. So yeah, they love their hand knits. So for the next person in line, they are going to get socks made from this yarn. And I'm pretty sure, because this was already caked up, I used this in something. I may have made a pair of socks from this at one point. I don't remember, but this is actually pineapple yarn in Endless Summer. And this is one of my favorite colorways that I dye. It has, as you can tell, I mean, it has the turquoise aqua color. It has, some really pretty pale bright pink. It has lots of speckles. It has gold. It has all different kinds of colors in here, even some gray. This is so pretty. And yeah, if you want to put a contrasting heel or toe or cuff, there's so many different colors that match this. So I really, really like this color. And it's great to blend with other colors because there's so many other colors in it. So I actually think I have a skein of this in the shop right now on my Panda base, which is 80% superwash merino wool and 20% bamboo. So the skein in the shop is super fluffy and squishy and has wonderful drape, but this is actually on a different base. So yeah, this will be another pair of socks that I cast on during the long drive. And so yeah, I'll be working on those. I'm going to work on my Wondrous Moth shawl, hopefully get some of the next section knocked out there. And yeah, I've been in future plans, I've been playing with the idea of joining the, I think it's called the 4-day sweater knit along. I'll post it below. It is by, or it's hosted by Olive Knits. She's Olive Knits on Instagram. And basically it is knitting a sweater in 4 days. And she designs a pattern for it. And this year is such a cool sweater. She's been knitting on it and posting photos on Instagram, and it looks like honeycombs. So I think it's called the Beekeeper. Yeah, it's pretty tempting. It's knit from DK, so it shouldn't take too long. I just don't know if I can knit a sweater in 4 days. I really don't know if I have that much downtime. Though I do think it would be really fun to have a knit along like that, just to have kind of the social aspect to keep your momentum up and have the good peer pressure. So yeah, I would love to hear if you guys comment or message me on Instagram. Let me know if you guys are going to do it, because I'm seriously considering it. I'd love to dye up some DK weight yarn for it. I really don't have any sweaters, honestly. So it would be nice to have a sweater for when it gets cold again. So yeah, let me know if you guys are thinking of doing that. I just thought it looked like a lot of fun. interesting and different. So yeah, thinking of doing that. I will let you know if I do end up doing it, and I might dye up some DK weight yarn and put it in the shop. So I think it'd be fun. So I believe that Cal starts maybe July 1st, but she is, it's not a mystery knit along, so she is releasing the pattern sooner than that. So you can look at it, and which is really smart. If you're going to knit a sweater in 4 days, you've got to know the pattern. You've got to know what to expect. Make sure you have the needles. Make sure you have your yarn caked up. Knit a swatch if you do that. So yeah, it looked really interesting. But speaking of shop news, I have been shuffling things around in my house. I'm actually right now sitting in a room that is going to be deemed the craft room. Mom's craft room, actually. Yeah, I have, I'm getting my sewing machine set up in here. It will just be for storing my yarn, project bags, for making my project bags. So I am so excited to have my own area to do all that. I'm going to package orders up here, film podcasts. So very, very excited for that. I'm also getting my area ready for dyeing. So my husband and I had discussed it, and our end goal is to remodel a part of our house so it can be used as a dye studio for me. I can't dye in the kitchen. Our kitchen is terrible for dyeing. It's really impractical. So eventually I would like to have an area in the house specifically for dyeing. Until then, I have found a different area. I don't know. I've made use of a different area of our house which has everything that I need for dyeing. And so I've been getting that together. I am hoping to start dyeing next week. Fingers crossed I can start dyeing next week. So if you guys have any specific colorways that you're interested in, if you have a sweater quantity in mind that you'd like for me to dye, just send me, either leave me a comment here, send me a message on Instagram. I actually have a contact link on my shop page. So yeah, just get a hold of me and let me know. I'd love to hear from you. So that's pretty exciting. The other thing I wanted to show you guys, I think I was going to tell you last week, is I wanted to show some of the sock blanks that are in my shop right now. So this one is, I think I do have a few double knits and I have a few single knit sock blanks in my shop. So this first one is a single knit sock blank, and I mean, this one just really speaks to me. This is, looks like number 10 right there. If you're looking for that colorway on my shop, it's number 10. It's a single knit sock blank. All of my sock blanks are one of a kind. So if you see one that you like, don't wait around for it because they're all one of a kind. But this one would just make, oh, it would be beautiful. You could do a shawl with it, but it would be such a fun pair of socks too. So I have this one. I actually have this, which is this is a double knit sock blank, and it is number 2 right there. You can see. So with a double knit sock blank, it's just 2 strands of yarn which are knit together. So with this, you will have, when you unravel it, you'll have 2 strands of yarn at once. You can knit basically a matching pair of socks, which would be so fun. But this just has some really bright colors in it. Very fun for spring and summer. Very summery. So there's that one. And then I have this one. This is also a double knit sock blank. And I really like the colors in this because it has some darker tones in it. And sometimes with the neons and the lighter colors, I know that it just can be very, almost overwhelming. But it's really nice when some of the colors have these darker colors to ground them. And so this would be such a fabulous pair of socks, I think. I really, really love all the colors. I love the dark tones in this because it would just add a little more visual interest. And that one is number 4. So yeah, that's also in the shop. I have several more in here, but I'll just leave it at that. And yeah, if you guys are interested in those sock blanks, they're in the shop right now. And yeah, I will be leaving the shop open this weekend. There is no, let's see, the post office will be closed on Monday, so USPS won't be delivering. So anything, I'm going to say anything shipped on, or anything, anything purchased on Thursday, which is, sorry guys, I think it's the 24th. So anything shipped on Thursday, May 24th, between then and the following Monday, they will be shipped on that Tuesday. So I apologize for the delay, but I did want to leave my shop up in case you guys are interested in purchasing anything while I'm gone. So I think that's about it for today, though. I'm so excited I was able to fit a podcast in this week. It's always a little interesting, but I've really enjoyed podcasting, so I try to make it a priority, and I've really enjoyed spending time with you, and I'm so grateful to you for spending some of your precious time out of your day with me. So until next time, I hope you guys have an awesome day. Bye.